let's do science. I'm your host, Boston DDS. Joining me is Dr. Moon.
Hello.
And what did we say? Monkey Senior PhD? There we go.
There we go.
There you go. We are your scientists. We are ready to rumble. We are ready to choose what we're talking about here in We Roguelike It ranking. The internet's definitive source for the best roguelikes. Every other list is wrong. This one is in stone. So look no further. All right, let's talk about our top 5 here in the list. The list is now 12 going on 13 games, so we're not going to go over it anymore. Starting here at number 5, 20XX. Risk of Rain, Void Bastards, Crypt of the Necrodancer, and still top of the charts, Hand of Fate. And this month we are here to figure out where Dungreed goes. This is our most recent finished game. But before we get into where it goes in the list, let's talk about our overall thoughts about Dungreed, what we liked, what we didn't like. Most importantly, will you keep playing this game? Thank you to Moonpier for the additional. I'm still really feeling it. Let's go first with Moon, because you said first.
So this is a difficult one for me because this one, honestly, I am about as middle of the road as you could get when it comes to this game. Like, I don't hate it. There are aspects of it I don't hate. The controller support is hot garbage. Screw the controllers. Controller controls. I had to play this game with a mouse and keyboard, which is the worst thing ever for me because I hate mouse and keyboard controls. It's got a decent enough style to it. The music is okay, although it did start to grain on me like that. The same music over and over again started to get to me a little bit.
Yeah.
This is going to... Time for some criticism, folks. So, one of the things that we both love and hate about roguelikes, generally speaking, is when you get an unlock, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, you unlock something brand new in Isaac, and it's like, oh, what's this? What's this? You know,
the Harbingers are in the basement. It's like, oh no.
Yes. Yeah. What does the Ludovigian technique actually mean when you pick it up?
Right.
Whereas this game, it's like, oh, by the way, you unlocked a house, here is 30 items. Oh, by the way, you beat a boss, here is 30 items. Like, none of them feel like they have any real consequence to them because it's just like, here is a bunch, good luck finding them.
Sure, right.
Like, it doesn't feel as rewarding as stuff like Crypt, like Hand, like these are games, and like Isaac is the prime example of, you get one unlock, and it's a huge deal.
Right, you did something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you look forward to figuring out what that thing does going forwards and how it synergizes with the rest of your stuff.
Well, and the hard part with, I think, Dungreed is the same problem that Cave Blazers had, where Dungreed spits out 30 different swords on screen and says, here's your unlockables. And it's like, okay.
I don't know what any of it does.
All I'm seeing is a lot of shoes and swords, and it's like, that's cool that the pool is this large. The item pool is very large, but I think you're right. It feels the unlocks can feel inconsequential.
Yeah. The game gets really hard as it goes on. Like, there is no stopping point before the end, which is a strange thing to say, but like, you play something like Isaac and you have the opportunity to stop your run at a certain point before taking on the 3 hell floors below it. So you can say, no, I'm good, I'm done, kind of thing. That's
oh, right. So you always have an exit where it's like, I'm done with this run, I know I can go further, but I'm calling it a day here.
Yeah, and not many games give you that option, and that's fine. Like, the Risk of Rain certainly does not give you that option kind of thing. In fact,
death is the only way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there is a lot to like about the game. Like I said, like, mouse and keyboard does control okay, but I suck at mouse and keyboard, so whatever kind of thing.
I'm going to be the lone holdout saying I really like the controller controls, but
I hate them.
I can understand that it is difficult. They are difficult controls, and I think the game would serve itself well by maybe lifting inspiration from other games that are like this, that are doing similar things.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm probably not going to go back to this thing. Like, as soon as we are done talking about it, I will probably not think about this game again until they inevitably announce a sequel to it.
Right.
Like, this isn't like, you know, a year and change almost after I got the full gamer score on Isaac, and I'm still hoping for that DLC to come out eventually, and I still might think about Isaac on a daily basis.
With all your fun stuff right behind you.
Yeah. You know, stuff like that. Like, I still think of Crypt. I still think every couple of weeks I'm like, I should fire up Crypt of the Necrodancer and just give that one that reverse
do a couple
go.
Yeah,
I can do it. I know I can do it. It will be fine.
Or just have a couple fun runs. Like I do that with Risk of Rain every once in a while. I was like, sure. I'll play a couple of rounds of Risk of Rain.
Whereas in this case, I honestly, and it's no offense to the game, the developer, or whatever, I think it's a pretty solid game. Like, it's genuinely speaking a very solid game. And if you are looking for an introduction into roguelikes, it's not super punishing, but is kind of super accessible at the same time. It's not a bad starting point.
That's
I don't
true.
think it's Swords of Ditto good for starting points.
Right.
But I think it's a pretty solid, like, entry-level roguelike for someone to jump into and give it a go. But it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's like right in the middle. It's like I cannot point out fatal flaws with the game. They are terrifically horrible. Like I said, mouse and keyboard controls are good. I'm just crap with them. And, you know, you don't have to use the controls port if you don't need to. Music is okay, but you don't have to listen to it. Like, there's a lot of steps around the issues that I have with the game, so there's nothing that's going to make me say, never play this game ever. Never play this game.
It's sort of middling Death by a Thousand Cuts, where it's like, the game's good. The game's fine. Like, it's not terrible. It's just Dungreed is good.
Yeah, it's a perfectly acceptable roguelike.
Yeah. All right, Monkey, what do you think?
Let's see. What do I have here? The art, music, and controls are fine. At first, I was a bit skeptical about how many items it unlocked, like, each time. But then it kept doing it, and I was like, okay, I guess this is fine. Like you guys said, each of the item unlocks weren't as impactful each time, but I feel like the buildings made up for that, because each time you made a building, like, it was a fairly significant change when you did it.
That's true.
And the buildings are really cool because they try to ensure you. What am I trying to say? They try to ensure you never have a, like, super terrible run. You know, like due to equipment.
Always starts you off on a stronger foot, because it's like, now you get a free weapon, which is better than the sword. Now you get a free item, which you can equip. Now you get now you can level
bunch
up
of characters and
I did like that. That's a good point.
And speaking of the blessing, that's a super cool mechanic. That just, if you fill up that bar, you just get a super powerful weapon or item at the very beginning of any run, and that's really cool. I like how there's a good variety of weapons that allows for a multiple different playstyles. Like, if you like just straight melee, and like, there's super fast melee, there's super slow but really strong, and then there's the whole variety of ranged weapons, like the bow and the wand,
the spatula,
and then the spatula, and then you unlock handguns and or just guns in general, and then it opens that whole.
And you have to balance reloading too, which is cool. Yeah,
and there's even an item that gives you the active reload from Gears.
Say, the active reload. Yeah.
That's really cool. And even with all those weapons, I think it's cool that you can get pretty far with the lowest rarity, the white colored weapon, because like some of the runs that I had that got to the fire area, I was just using one of the white weapons. Like I didn't like any of the rarer weapons that I got, so I was like, I'll just use this regular thing. And as for keeping on playing it, I think I will, if just to complete it at least once, because I feel like I'm so close. So I might as well try to get to it.
You are the closest out of all of us of being like,
just a little more.
Fingernails reach away from the actual boss kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll like 100% it, because I know there's like a Steam achievement that's defeat the final boss with at least 4 different costumes. I'm like, do I want to beat it 4 times? Like, I can beat it once and I'll be okay with, like, the game is done now.
Yeah. You're gonna Boston Doom 2016 it, where you're just gonna throw it on the easiest difficulty, get to the end credits.
Just cook through it and be like, that was great. Yeah. I don't have too much to add on top of what you guys are talking about, mostly because I played it the least. I do want to call out, I really liked the character design for a lot of the characters. I think a lot of them are really cool. I like especially in the first world, I like the little dog skeletons that are always sort of nipping right at you. I think it's a really cool design. Yeah. It's a cool design. As an enemy, it sucks.
Terrible enemy.
Yeah. And I really do like the animation, especially of the dungeon opening, coming up and swallowing you and like pulling you down. I think there's a lot of really cool animation in the game. It really makes me wish that this was on console, because I feel like this would be a game I would happily have in like my roguelike folder on my PS4 and kind of play it every once in a while and make a little more progress, but not sort of play it hardcore. It's not like my one roguelike of the moment. I think
it is coming to console later.
Yeah, unfortunately Nicholas is publishing it looks like. So that is right out the window. I don't think I'll keep playing this game, not because it's bad, but because it's not great. And I think...
No, that makes sense. Like, I still load up Hand of Fate every now and again.
Yeah.
There's a reason that thing is number 1 is because, like, I could do a quick run through this.
Yeah.
We know Risk of Rain is one of your all-time favorites.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we all have solid foundation of The Binding of Isaac to sit on over here as one of our
required reading for We Roguelike It.
Essentially.
And I think one of the other problems, too, is we're recording this at the end of September. Video game season is in full effect, which we are rapidly and frighteningly racing towards our top 10 episode, which means we have a lot of other stuff to play. So, like, unless something is coming out that's just like an absolute like best of the year game that we've run into, I don't have room on my plate for it, unfortunately. So, and that's really not Dungreed's fault, but that's the reality of the situation.
If only we could all stop playing games as a service games, we would all be fine.
I can't, man. I can't. Don't make me stop.
I know you've got one, and I know I've got at least 2. I'm pretty sure Monkey's got to have 1 or 2 in his pocket as well.
Not at the moment.
Okay. So they're waiting to grab you.
So let me tell you about a little thing I like to call Elite Dangerous on the Xbox One.
I feel like there's a couple of camps like ready to pull you over. We're like, hey, there's a great new tutorial on Elite Dangerous. Yeah. All right, now that we've talked about our overall thoughts about Dungreed, let's talk about where it lands in our top 10. We've already taken out the bottom 2. We're gonna scooch over those real quick. So we're gonna ask the question: is Dungreed better than Cave Blazers?
I would say so. Yes,
I would agree with that.
It's basically a better Cave Blazers.
Yes. It's like a more 100%. Modern Cave Blazers. Yeah. Is Dungreed better than Riddled Corpses EX? I would say I think it's a better roguelike.
Yeah, and it's got a bit more depth to it. Not a lot, but a bit more depth to it than what we've seen.
Is Dungreed better than Prey Mooncrash?
I would say yes.
I would say yes. I haven't played that much Mooncrash. I've played just a little bit, but I think from what I've played of Mooncrash, I think Dungreed is better than it.
I would agree. Is Dungreed better than the Swords of Ditto Classic?
For me, this is where it stops.
Okay.
Because I feel like Swords of Ditto and Dungreed both do what they do very, very well, which is they are both very good introductory roguelikes to the genre for people. I think Dungreed stops here because Dungreed is a 2D side-scrolling kind of platforming action game, which is, whenever Dungreed came out, doesn't matter if it's in the past 5 years, it's a very played-out genre at this point, specifically as well for roguelikes. Whereas Swords of Ditto Classic Edition has that Legend of Zelda feel to it.
Sure.
And not a whole lot of roguelikes take that approach to it of here is a big open world with a big, granted limited combat options when you get right down to it and you figure out the two things you want to use in the game.
And to be clear, it's much different than the Legend of Zelda inspiration that Binding of Isaac took, because that took inspiration from the dungeons, where Swords of Ditto takes inspiration from the overworld.
Yeah. I think I like the art style in Swords of Ditto a little bit better. It's very, very kid friendly.
That's true.
I think it stops here.
Monkey, what do you think?
I think Dungreed is better for the depth, I guess, because of all the
there is so many options, so many combat options in it.
And then the equipment sets as well. Like there's a whole bunch that they're like, the icons for them are still a question mark, so there's still stuff to unlock.
Right.
And just for the depth, I think Dungreed goes over Swords of Ditto.
So this is where I struggle on this month's ranking, because I think Dungreed does weapons and weapon variety so much better than Swords of Ditto. Like, our constant complaint about Swords of Ditto is you find your one character with your one loadout and your toy of legend that you love, and that's what you stick with. And as soon as you find it, you're sort of good to go. And the number of... There's a ton of stickers in the game, but they never felt as impactful.
They're not game changes.
Yeah, and they're not as impactful as, I have a new sword in Dungreed, and it is a vampire sword that hits 3 times at once. You never have anything like that.
Yeah, it's not a case of, if you get this specific magic wand, give it a go, you might find it really, really good.
Right. But I think Swords of Ditto is... I think I like the overworld a little bit better in Swords of Ditto, because there's more to discover and there's more to find, and it feels like there's a little bit more. But Dungreed doesn't do that badly either.
Hey, dude, flip a coin if you need to.
I'm trying to go with my gut, and I think my gut says Dungreed is not better than Swords of Ditto, but it's by like a thread. So I think for me, this is where it stops too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, Monkey, would it have stopped at Darkest Dungeon for you?
I think so.
It would have stopped there for me for sure.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Dungreed is now in our list here right below the Swords of Ditto Classic. So we're having our top 10 here. Hand of Fate, very safe this time. Very safe. Yes. Sitting at the top of the charts.
Safe.
It doesn't even know the fight that just happened below it. Everything's still good.
He's up in his high castle, like celebrating his revelries.
Yeah. So like we talked about in the episode alongside this, Galaxy is our next game we're going to be talking about. We'll figure out where hopefully all of us are going to play the same game. And until then, we'll see you all next run.
Bye.
Goodbye.